I want to start today by asking you to check in with yourself for just a second.
Hmm.
Not with your to-do list or your calendar or, the 5 emails you haven't replied to yet.
Right.
I want you to check in with the actual texture of your headspace right now.
Right.
Because if you are anything like me, or honestly, anyone trying to function in the modern world,
Yeah.
it probably feels a bit like Grand Central Station in there.
Oh, absolutely. Just constant movement.
Yeah.
Noise. Announcements you didn't ask for. It's the sensation of a business that refuses to close its doors, isn't it?
That is exactly the feeling. It's that sense of urgency, that conviction, that every single thought popping into your head is a breaking news alert that requires immediate coverage.
It is exhausting.
So exhausting. And that is exactly why I wanted to bring today's source to the table. We're looking at a piece called You Don't Have to Follow Every Thought.
Yeah.
And I want to set the stage here very clearly. This isn't a medical diagnosis. And thank goodness it is not another productivity hack to get you to process data faster.
No, and I think that distinction is vital. We are so used to treating the mind like a machine that needs, optimization.
Right.
This source treats the mind more like a landscape. It's really a piece of, philosophical psychology. It's a poetic exploration of metacognition,
Metacognition.
which is just a fancy word for thinking about thinking.
And that's the framework, isn't it? Because usually we are just in the thinking.
Yeah.
We're not looking at it.
Mhm.
And this piece uses an incredible metaphor that honestly, once I read it, I just couldn't unsee it.
It is a powerful image. And our mission today is to really deconstruct this metaphor, the mind as a train station. We want to understand the mechanics of why we feel compelled to board every single train that pulls in and explore the psychological reality of what might happen if we just didn't.
And just a tone check before we get into the heavy lifting.
Yeah?
We aren't here to fix you today. If your brain is noisy, it doesn't mean it's broken.
Not at all.
It just means it's doing its job. We're just here to witness the mechanism, to, sit on the bench together and watch the traffic.
I like that. Let's head to the station.
Okay, so the source material opens with this very specific, very atmospheric scene. Set the stage for us. What are we looking at here?
The text introduces us to a protagonist, a man sitting in the train station. It's dawn, so the light is just coming up.
Okay.
It's described as gray, maybe a little misty. You get the sense that it's a cold morning.
Yeah.
And he is sitting on a weathered wooden bench.
And the crucial part isn't just where he is, but what he's doing. Or I guess what he isn't doing.
Right.
He isn't checking his watch. He isn't pacing up and down the platform looking for the conductor.
Exactly. He is purely an observer. The text describes trains roaring in from every direction. This is a busy hub, not a sleepy country stop.
Busy hub, yeah.
But he never moves toward the yellow line. He stays seated.
And naturally, in the story, the other people, the commuters, the travelers, they're confused.
Of course.
They see a guy at a train station who isn't traveling, and it bothers them. They ask, why do you sit here? Why don't you go anywhere?
And his answer is the anchor for everything we're going to talk about today. He smiles and says, I'm not waiting for a train. I'm practicing not getting on one.
I'm practicing not getting on one. That line actually stopped me cold.
Yeah.
Because it challenges a default setting we all have. Usually when we think about our minds, we assume that if a thought arrives, it's ours. We think we are the traffic.
Precisely. In psychology, we call that cognitive fusion. It's where you become indistinguishable from your thoughts.
Cognitive fusion.
Most of us go through life fused with the trains. If an angry thought comes through, we don't say, I am noticing a feeling of anger. We say, I am angry.
Right.
We merge with the vehicle.
So we buckle ourselves into the seat before we even realize we've left the platform.
Exactly. But the source argues that you are not the train. You are the person on the platform. You are the context, not the content.
But hold on, I want to push on that for a second, because that sounds nice philosophically, but in reality, thoughts feel incredibly personal. They feel like me.
Of course they do.
If I'm not my thoughts, what am I, just the empty station?
Well, you are the awareness that knows the thoughts are happening. It sounds abstract, I know, but think about the sensory details the text uses.
Okay.
It talks about the platform shaking beneath the man's feet. It talks about the deafening noise. The man feels the presence of the trains. He isn't ignoring them.
Right, he knows they're there.
He knows they're there, but he maintains that separation.
I love that distinction because it doesn't deny the intensity of the feeling. It acknowledges that the platform shakes. When you have a really heavy, anxious thought, like a financial worry or a health scare, it physically rattles you.
It does. It triggers a somatic response. Your heart rate goes up, your stomach drops. The shaking platform is a perfect metaphor for the nervous system reacting to a thought.
But the argument here is that just because the ground is shaking doesn't mean you have to jump on the vehicle causing the vibration.
Exactly. In fact, jumping on the vehicle usually makes the shaking worse.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the trains themselves. Because the source gives us a really useful taxonomy here. It breaks down the different types of trains that pull into this station. It's not just one generic thought train.
No, and this is where I think you're really going to see yourself. The text describes 3 specific categories. Let's break them down. First, you have the loud and aggressive ones.
These are your urgent anxieties, the defensiveness, the anger. In terms of the brain, this is your amygdala just firing.
Right.
These trains scream at you. They demand an immediate reaction. They feel like a threat to your safety, so your body often reacts before your prefrontal cortex. The logical part of your brain even has a chance to check the schedule.
So these are the you made a mistake, or they are mad at you, or fix this now kind of thoughts.
Exactly. They survive on volume. They try to startle you into boarding.
Then there's the second type, which I found really interesting because they don't seem bad at first. The text calls them the sleek and seductive trains, the ones promising exciting destinations.
These are tricky. These represent escapism, the daydreams, the grass is greener scenarios.
You're trying to focus on a difficult spreadsheet or be present with a crying toddler, and this sleek bullet train pulls up that says, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we imagined winning that argument you might have 5 years from now?
Or what if we just fantasized about quitting our job right now and moving to a cabin in Vermont?
Right. They aren't negative thoughts per se, but they are distractions. They lure you away from the reality of the present moment with a little dopamine hit of something better.
The trains of anywhere but here.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
And then we have the third type, the dark, windowless trains. The ones heading somewhere you cannot see.
These are the heavy ones. The text implies these represent those deep, shapeless fears. Subconscious dread.
Yeah.
Sometimes these thoughts don't even fully form into words. It's just a feeling of doom or a heavy sadness that pulls into the station and sits there just idling.
Oh, that's such a distinct feeling.
You don't know where it's going, but you feel the gravitational pull of it. It's not a sentence in your head, it's just a weight. But here is the mechanism that the source emphasizes. And it's almost chilling how accurate this feels. Every single one of these trains, the loud ones, the sexy ones, the dark ones, they all do the same thing.
They stop.
They stop, they open their doors.
And they wait for you.
That's the invitation. And that is the compulsion we live with. When a door opens in front of you, there's a deep psychological pull to walk through it.
It feels almost rude not to. It feels like an obligation. The thought is here, therefore I must attend to it.
I must ride it to the end of the line to see where it goes.
Exactly.
Ride to the end of the line.
Yeah.
That's the trap, isn't it? Because usually, we know that riding the why did I say that stupid thing 5 years ago train only goes to one place.
Yeah.
Shame station.
We know the route. We've ridden it 1,000 times. We have a season pass to that destination.
So why do we get on, if I know the health anxiety train just goes in a circle and drops me off a panic attack, why do I board it every single time?
Because the brain hates uncertainty. We think that by worrying about a problem, we are solving it.
Right.
We think, if I get on this train and think about this symptom for 3 hours, I am somehow protecting myself. We mistake rumination for problem solving. We think the ride is necessary work.
That is a huge distinction.
Yeah.
Rumination versus problem solving. One gets you somewhere, the other just burns fuel. And speaking of burning fuel, the source actually lays out a timetable of suffering that made me laugh out loud because it was so painful.
The daily schedule of neurosis, I know the one.
Yeah. It says 7:00 a.m., the worry train pulls in, right on time with the alarm clock.
Before you've even had coffee, that's the what do I have to do today? Am I enough? Will I fail express?
Oh, yeah.
It hits you right as the cortisol spikes to wake you up.
Then around lunchtime, regret shows up. Maybe you're tired, maybe your blood sugar's low, and suddenly you're replaying a conversation from yesterday.
But the one that hit me hardest in the text, and I think everyone listening has a relationship with this one, was the 3:00 a.m. train.
The 3:00 a.m. Fear Express.
It's universal, and I think it's important to analyze why that 3:00 a.m. train feels so impossible to ignore.
Why is that? Why is a thought at 3:00 a.m. 10 times heavier than the same thought at 3:00 a.m.?
It comes down to contrast. During the day, the station is busy. You have ambient noise conversations, work, traffic, this deep dive.
Right. Other stuff going on.
You have external stimuli to compete with the internal narrative. You might miss the arrival of a fear train simply because you're busy making lunch.
But at 3 a.m.,
It's just you and the platform. The silence of the world amplifies the noise of the mind. That train pulls in, hissing and screeching, and because there is no other input, it feels like the only reality that exists.
and the door's open. And it feels like you have to get on, you have to solve the problem right now, in the dark, or the world will end.
Which is a lie the brain tells itself. But then the source delivers this line, which I think we should probably print out and tape to our mirrors. It's the truth no one tells you.
Not every train deserves a passenger.
Let that land for a second. Not every train deserves a passenger. Just because a thought arrives, just because it is loud, just because it is terrifying, does not mean it is entitled to your time and energy.
You are not obligated to go everywhere your mind wants to take you.
You're not.
It sounds so liberating, but also really hard. Like, let's be real. It's one thing to hear that conceptually. It's another thing when the "you're a failure" train is idling in front of you with the doors wide open.
Right.
How do we actually do this?
Right.
Is it just about suppressing it, shoving the train off the tracks?
No, and that's a crucial distinction. Suppression, trying to force the thought away, doesn't work.
Why not?
In psychology, we know that if you try not to think of a white bear, you will only think of a white bear. Trying to turn the train off the tracks is actually a form of engagement. You're wrestling it. You're still on the tracks.
So if we don't fight it and we don't board it, what do? The source actually breaks this down into a specific practice.
It outlines 4 steps, and I love that it calls it a practice, not a cure.
Good point.
It's something you have to do over and over again.
Okay, let's walk through the tactical side of this. Step 1, notice it.
This is the awareness phase. Most of the time, we're on the train before we know it. We're 3 stops away in Resentment Town before we realize we left the station.
Yeah.
Step 1 is just catching the arrival. Oh, a train has arrived.
Step 2, name it.
This is a powerful tool called affect labeling. The text suggests saying something like, there's the worry train, right on schedule.
Right.
When you name it, you categorize it. You are no longer worried. You are observing worry. You create that tiny bit of distance between the observer and the object.
Okay, so we've noticed it, we've named it. Step 3, watch it.
This is the hard part. The text says to explicitly acknowledge how badly the thought wants you to board. Don't pretend you don't want to obsess over it.
Okay.
Admit it. I really want to get on this train and spiral. Feel the magnetic pull of the open doors.
And then step 4, wait. Do nothing. Just breathe. Let the doors stay open.
This is the act of resistance. It's passive resistance, but it's active. You aren't closing the doors. You aren't running away. You are sitting on the bench, letting the doors scream, "Get in!" And you are just breathing.
And what happens?
The train leaves.
They have to, right.
Trains cannot wait forever. That is the nature of thoughts. They are transient phenomena. They are energy in motion. If you do not board, they must move on.
There's always another one coming.
There is always another one coming behind it, so the track has to clear.
That's a comforting thought. Even the worst panic, even the deepest shame, it has a departure time. It will leave if you just don't buckle your seatbelt into it.
Exactly. But you have to withstand that moment of discomfort, that gap while it waits. You have to prove to the train that you aren't a passenger today.
This reminds me of the man in the story again. He says he is practicing not getting on. It implies that sometimes he probably still gets on.
Oh, absolutely. We all board the trains. We wake up and realize we've been riding the anger line for 3 hours and we're 3 towns over. That happens. The practice isn't perfection. The practice is realizing, oh, I'm on the train and getting off at the next stop, or next time catching it before you board. It's about agency.
And this leads us to the final and I think most profound insight from this source. We go back to the image of the man at the station. He's been practicing this for who knows how long, but the station isn't quiet.
No, the trains still come, the noise hasn't stopped, the platform still shakes.
And that challenges everything I thought I knew about peace of mind. I always thought peace meant a silent head. No thoughts, just a blank white room.
That is the common misconception. We think peace is the absence of trains. But the source corrects us. It says, peace is not the absence of trains. Peace is knowing you don't have to get on.
Peace is knowing you don't have to get on.
That changes the goal completely. If you are waiting for your mind to be silent before you can be at peace, you're going to be waiting forever. The mind thinks. That is what it does.
It's its job.
It produces thoughts like the heart pumps blood. You can't stop the production line, but you can stop being a consumer of every single product.
It allows for a noisy world and a busy brain, but it's still center.
Precisely. You can sit on that bench, surrounded by the chaos of your own neurons firing, the anxiety, the planning, the memories, and you can be perfectly still because you know your identity. You are the one on the bench. You are not the noise.
It brings a bit of dignity back to the chaotic mind, doesn't it? You don't have to be a victim of your own intelligence or your own imagination.
It creates space, and in that space, you get to choose. Maybe today you do want to get on the creative planning train. That's a great ride.
For sure.
But you choose it. It didn't kidnap you.
I think that's the takeaway for me. It's about moving from being kidnapped by your thoughts to being the traveler who decides whether or not to travel.
And realizing that staying put is a valid destination.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to bring us back to that visual one last time. Imagine that wooden bench, the dawn light, the rumble of the tracks.
It's a place you can go to anytime. Next time you feel that overwhelm, just close your eyes and put yourself on the bench.
Yeah.
See the thought as a physical train. See the doors open and just wave at it.
Not today, thank you.
Catch you later.
Now, for those of you listening who are thinking, okay, I see the station, but I have been riding these trains for so long, I don't know who I am without a ticket. We have a resource for you. In the description, you'll find a link to the Overthinking Identity Profile Playbook.
It's a free download that helps you map out your specific train schedule. What are your frequent routes? When do they arrive?
Right.
It's a great companion to this visualization because, honestly, you can't refuse a train if you don't recognize it when it pulls in.
Definitely check that out. But for right now, we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that builds on what we've talked about but pushes it just a little further.
We've established that you are not the train, and you aren't the destination the train is heading to. You are the observer on the platform. So the question is,
If the train stopped coming, who would be left sitting on the bench?
who are you when the narrative stops?
The big question. Thank you for riding with us today. Or rather, thank you for sitting with us.
A pleasure as always.
Take care, everyone. And remember, mind the gap.